Hey, it's Friday. Thank you to everybody who joined me at last night's Hangout. We had over 70 people there for over 2 hours, and it was very interesting and very funny. A lot of laughs at last night's Hangout. If you are a subscriber, there's a link in the show notes if you want to go watch it. Then do that, but I am very happy to have you joining me for today's show. Just a clip show. Just got clips and news. No guest on today's show, though I have taped a couple of good interviews. I just wanted to cover what the hell happened yesterday with Alien versus Predator. The MAGA bromance is over between Elon Musk and Donald Trump, something that pretty much everybody predicted, including Sean Hannity when he interviewed them both. And so I've got that and just a whole bunch of headlines that got undercovered. So let's start there with those headlines, and then I'll get to the clips and we will call it a day. But I wanted to definitely recap what the hell happened yesterday in America and in the world. But let's start where we need to start every day. We're contractually obligated to begin here. Our friend Kevin Richburg of Slate Hill Edible Forest has this as the most important story today and every day. Go ahead, Kevin.
The only story that matters is that Trump is manifestly unfit to be president. He purposely takes time away from meetings with world leaders to publicly snipe and bicker with the world's richest man using language lifted from a 10-year-old's diary. The only story that matters is that Trump is just as unfit to be president as an immature, squabbling 10-year-old on a schoolyard playground who wants everyone to know she hates her old best friend, Stacy.
So good. So good. He nails it. It's the third time I've heard it, and that's still an authentic laugh. And by the way, he made that before all hell broke out yesterday. But here are the headlines that got undercovered as a result of our Mad King and baby billionaire fighting with each other and making all kinds of accusations and threats. So I think there's a whole bunch of Trump lost a whole bunch of court cases yesterday. But one that they, I guess, ostensibly won was a unanimous Supreme Court that sided with a woman who is heterosexual in her discrimination appeal, ruling that a lower court applied too strict a standard against her. Her whole case was that she got hired instead of a gay person, and she won. It's a little bit convoluted. It's not that simple, but it's important, so I thought I'd mention that. Another ruling that was unanimous, the Supreme Court sided with the firearms industry in a ruling that Mexico's novel lawsuit didn't plausibly allege that gun companies had aided and abetted unlawful sales, routing guns to Mexican drug cartels. So that was an important one. Here's a win for due process. When a judge starts a lengthy ruling by quoting Franz Kafka's The Trial, a novel associated with an absurd legal order that could be a bad sign for the government. And so it was. In the 69-page opinion yesterday from the U.S. District Court Judge James Boasberg, yeah, that guy, it marked a step toward righting the Trump administration's wrong of sending scores of Venezuelan immigrants to a notorious Salvadoran prison without due process. That's right. Jordan Rubin writing over at MSNBC.com about that case, and a lot to learn more about that. And speaking of the administration now losing in court, yesterday they lost a bid to lift the federal judge's order temporarily blocking the U.S. Education Department from laying off about half of its more than 4,000 employees. In other news related to the administration losing again in court, last week the Labor Department said that it would pause the Job Corps operations at 99 contracted operated centers by the end of June, leaving thousands of students in limbo. But a judge yesterday issued a temporary restraining order blocking the Department of Labor from taking steps to close the Job Corps. The judge ordered a hearing later this month on the issue. We'll see what happens there. Also, another loss. The Trump administration now has to restore hundreds of millions of dollars in American Corps grant funding and thousands of service workers in about 24 states, according to a federal judge yesterday. U.S. District Judge granted a temporary block on the agency's cancellation of grants and early discharge of Corps members. Is it Corps or Corps members? But only for the states that sued the administration in April. And the latest in Trump's war on Harvard. yesterday or Wednesday, Trump said he'll deny visas for foreign students trying to come to the United States to attend Harvard University. Of course, his latest attack on the Ivy League college. And an immigrant waitress from Hong Kong whose looming deportation brought home the reality of President Trump's immigration crackdown in her conservative Missouri hometown was freed on Wednesday after more than a month in jail. She said, "They released me." Ming Lee Hugh, better known as Carroll to everyone in Kennett, Missouri, said in a voicemail message left for her lawyer and relayed to the New York Times. So that is really good news. Carroll is headed home, and that, I think, is partially as a result of some good journalism by people like Greg Sargent, who interviewed her for his podcast, which airs on the Deep State Network, David Rothkopf's network. So kudos to those guys. And Trump administration's proposed budget for the coming fiscal year is eliminating funding for programs that provide life-saving vaccines around the world, including immunizations for polio. I mean, that can't stand. That's too hard to wrap your head around, but I want to read more about that and wanted to mention it here in the news. Also yesterday, Russia pummeled Kiev in an apparent retaliation for the Ukrainian drone assault. Apparently 3 people were killed, 49 wounded in these intense Russian air attacks on Ukraine. And apparently yesterday, Trump and the Chinese leader Xi Jinping spoke on the phone. Trump called it a very positive conversation, and the U.S. and China have agreed to hold more trade talks, but still no deals, no real developments out of that conversation that we know of other than they're going to talk more. And our amazing health secretary and brainworm guy, RFK Jr., apparently said he wanted to expand access to, quote, experimental, unproven medical treatments like stem cell and chelation, is that how it's pronounced? Therapies. But he conceded that the industry was rife with fraud. Well, that's good. Yeah, I think everything's going fine. Those are all of your headlines outside of the breakup of Elon Musk and Donald Trump. So let's get to that now. Here is the New York Times recap. Together, President Trump and Elon Musk retook the White House, slashed the federal government, and reshaped U.S. alliances. They professed to be the best of friends along the way. Yesterday, that relationship imploded in public. Perhaps for 2 mercurial billionaires with large personalities and little tolerance for dissent, it was inevitable. Musk spent the last few days lamenting the size and cost of Trump's domestic policy bill in Congress. And during a televised Oval Office meeting yesterday, Trump said, "I'm very disappointed in Elon." Then each man brought to the brawl his own personal social media site. That's right, of course. I mean, that's crazy. Both these rich assholes, born into tremendous wealth, white supremacist pricks who have assaulted dozens of women, well, they both also own social media platforms. On Truth Social, Trump threatened Musk's businesses, including SpaceX. "You know, the easiest way to save money in our budget, billions and billions of dollars, is to terminate Elon's government subsidies and contracts. How about that, huh?" And then Musk responded, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election." Yeah, that's right. He spent $250 million last year to help Trump get into office. And then he issued a warning on X to lawmakers weighing whether to back Trump's budget-busting proposal. "Trump has like 3.5 years as president, but I'm going to be around for like 40 plus years." So Trump said he had asked Musk, who it was, quote, wearing thin, to leave the White House. "I took away his EV mandate. That forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy." That's what Trump wrote. And then Musk claimed that Trump was in the Epstein files. That's it. He nuked him. A reference, of course, to the government documents on Jeffrey Epstein, adding, "That's the real reason they've not been made public." So as the two fought, Tesla's stock price plummeted. Shares ended the day down more than 14%, which erased about $150 billion from the company's market valuation. The stock of Truth Social's parent company, Trump Media and Technology Group, fell 8%, and it crashed. And you're partially caught up on the back and forth. It wasn't a full recap, but now I've got a whole bunch of reactions to this from people across the political spectrum, elected leaders, pundits, and comedians. So let's get to it right now. And we will start with my about 4-minute appearance on Australia's Today Show, hosted by my best friend, David Campbell, and his co-host yesterday is a guy named Dickie. So yesterday I talked to them around 7 o'clock just before the Hangout, and I thought it went pretty well. Here we go.
That's right. The bromance is officially dead. The black eye is actually a black eye on their relationship now, with the billionaires locked in a bitter feud for us all to see.
Oh, my goodness. You couldn't write this stuff for more. Let's bring in U.S. political commentator Pete Dominic in New York City, home of the brave. Pete.
Better be brave.
Where did this all go so horribly wrong?
Dickie Campbell, it's the craziest day so far, and that is saying something in a Trump administration too. But who would have possibly guessed that these two narcissistic, born into wealth, egoistic guys would have a breakup? I'll tell you who, everybody saw this coming.
Yeah. So you texted me this morning, like, I want this to be the first thing you see when you wake up. This war of words online, it's pretty explosive legally.
There's all kinds of things to say about this. There's all kinds of circumstances and reactions, but I feel like the most important thing is the tweet you have on the screen right now that Elon Musk says the president is in the Epstein files. I mean, release the Epstein files, ladies and gentlemen. That is really big deal, because you have to understand, if you pay close attention to Trump supporters and the MAGA movement in America, and Elon Musk has been fanning the flames of these rumors for a long time too, a lot of them are very concerned about Jeffrey Epstein and who knew what and who was where. Well, we just heard from the former, my two dads here, Elon Musk, were torn apart, that Elon is saying Trump is in the Epstein files, and he should know, because I think he is too. Release the Epstein files, gents.
Oh my God.
Would he know if Trump was in there?
Who knows? Because Elon Musk says anything he wants and gets away with anything he wants on the social media platform he owns. Guys, both of these two guys own a social media platform, and they're going back and forth. Both of you guys love films, and Campbell, my friend Wajad Ali, he writes in Zateo, he writes this: a divorce is often a painful, traumatic event that leaves emotional scars and takes years to heal. While witnessing the aftermath of a breakup, it's considered appropriate decorum to offer a trite saying such as, well, this is probably for the best, and we hope both will end up doing better. However, when it comes to the sudden, ugly breakup of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, I'd like to invoke a now famous quote of Ken Watanabe's character from Godzilla: "Let them fight."
Hey, well, they are. I mean, Tesla's stocks have taken a massive hit. I mean, they're both out of pocket here, right?
I mean, Tesla stock, if you watched it today, it's absolutely tanking, Dickie. The company is tanking, and Trump just threatened to cancel huge amounts of contracts, billions of dollars of federal contracts that Elon Musk has with the United States federal government. In the meantime, Steve Bannon, Trump's former right-hand man, a very influential guy on the right, a guy who used to share a radio studio with until I hung up garlic and a crucifix and he flew out, turned into a bat. Steve Bannon saying Elon Musk needs to be investigated and potentially deported, and that Trump should take over SpaceX, Elon Musk's crappy rocket company.
This is only, it's still, what time is it there at the moment, Pete? What time is it?
Nobody knows, Campbell.
I'll have 6 o'clock.
Everything is crazy. It's 7:30 p.m.
It's 7:30 at night, and anything can happen from here on in.
Amazing. The gloves are off. I don't know where this ends up, but Pete, you'll be right across it, as will the rest of the world. Watching on, and what's the word? Horror? Disbelief? Incredible. Thanks,
absolutely.
Pete.
Hey, Campbell, I'll call you later tonight to say goodnight, bro.
All right. Love you, bro. Bye.
See, that's a thing.
See? That's what best friends do.
Still to come on Today.
Of course, in case you missed it, and you did, but there's a trend going around where guys call their friends or somebody and say goodnight, and the guy doesn't know. It's good. I love it. I think it's healthy, and they were about to do a segment on it, so it was a callback. All right, let's get to much more important reactions than mine, although that was fun. Always fun being on national television with your bestie. Never take that for granted. I'm always interested in how the right-wing media, broadcast media especially, is going to cover Trump scandals and things that are really bad for Trump. The obvious thing is that they don't talk about them at all. And to be fair, they certainly didn't talk about him as much as pretty much every other media outlet out there. But they did. They did talk. I saw a lot of different clips out there. And so let's start with this guy named Carl Higbee, because he is on Newsmax. So they're like way further to the right than even Fox News. And I think these guys are all confused. They don't know which daddy to side with. They're not sure who's going to get custody of J.D. Vance and Joe Rogan, but they're trying to figure it out. And it's interesting to see them drowning in what allegiances and loyalties they're going to have. But you start to see it crystallize slowly yesterday and then faster into today, I'm sure. Here's Newsmax Carl Higbee giving his take and read on it. And I think this is great.
Still love Trump, and I really like Elon. This is just a really crappy scenario right now, and I really hope these two can patch these things up, because I think Elon took a low blow by tweeting that, quote, DJT was on the Epstein client list. I mean, something that he knows can't be immediately verified. Also, if Trump was on that island doing something illegal, after all the legal battles that Biden threw at him, if he had done something illegal with Jeffrey Epstein, you would think they would have thrown that at him, no? They pulled out the stops on everything else. The only thing we can point to that was a known association with Epstein was that he was at his club once. And by the way, Trump kicked him out of that club because of reported bad behavior. And also, Elon, if you knew he was on the Epstein client list, why did you let him board Marine One with your son? Just asking. But the best thing for Trump to do now is to release the list, something that also our FBI and Pam Bondi have promised us.
All right, there you go. Carl Higbee on Newsmax. I thought he was going to cry. Here's our old friend Will Cain. Here's how he opened the hour on his show. I don't know if this is the top of the hour, but he did mention it, and here's what it sounded like.
Elon writing, time to drop the really big bomb. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files. That is the real reason they have not been made public. Have a nice day, DJT. Seems a Rubicon that Elon Musk has crossed.
Yeah, that's okay. That's one way of putting it. Here's Sean Hannity talking about the breakup.
And I interviewed them together. The first thing I said to them and talked about and asked them, you do know that the media mob, the legacy media mob, desperately wants to tear you guys apart and for you two to fight and to get a divorce. And now the media mob is predictably elated.
And this is hilarious. This is the best one because Jesse Waters had actor Scott Baio on, and he's not a commentator, a political commentator. So it doesn't really have anything to offer. It doesn't look like he prepares for the segment. He's just like, I don't know what to think. This is crazy. This is, also just hilarious that these two men are talking on the biggest platform in all of cable media, at least. Two guys that probably met at a domestic abuse trial.
Have you been following the Elon Musk-Donald Trump feud?
I just heard your opening, and I didn't know all the name calling that was going on. I don't know what the hell is happening. In the beginning, honestly, Jesse, I thought it was a ploy. Yeah. I really did.
People
I thought
think
there was
it's
some
a ploy.
Sort of gamesmanship. Yeah, I thought there was some kind of gamesmanship going on between the two of them to get more cuts in the bill. And if Elon hates it, then they'll put more cuts in it. But I don't know, man. I really don't know.
Yeah, people thought it was a ploy until Elon said Trump was on the Epstein client list. And I know that. Then it became...
Yeah, okay. Well, there you have it. And then one more. Laura Ingraham.
Stop to think how happy the media and the Democrats are today. They always wanted to break this alliance. I said this last week. And today they got their wish.
I don't know if we got our wish, and I don't know if we wanted to break the alliance. We just knew that it would break. So we were anticipating that these two guys were going to turn on each other. And I'm not yet sure if it's a good thing. I think it's a good thing. I can't see how it's a bad thing for progressives and Democrats yet, but we'll wait to decide on what happens, certainly with the big, bad, beautiful bill, the Republican brand, Republican elections and primaries, which is why it's now good to go to a few Republican congressmen, because who are they going to side with? Hint, hint, mostly Trump, except for those that are really concerned about the debt and deficit, like Thomas Massie, who he said, let's go to him first.
I trust the math from the guy that lands rockets backwards over the politician's math. I think that patient is on life support, and if the Senate thinks they're going to rehabilitate it and rewrite it, I think they're endangering this patient.
All right. Well, that's very interesting, but he's the only Republican who supported Trump that I heard interviewed. Doesn't mean a lot of them, others don't. I'm sorry, who supported Elon Musk, Thomas Massey, on the argument over the big, bad, beautiful bill, at least. But here is Tim Burchett. I think he's from Tennessee. He's on Team Trump.
I'd go with Trump politically. The two biggest dogs in the pound. They're going to turn on each other eventually.
Should I go?
I'd go with Trump politically.
That's Tim Burchett. Here is a guy named Troy Nels. He lives in Texas. He's apparently horrific. I played this clip last night at the Hangout, and Tina and other Texans who are familiar with his work vomited during the Hangout. They were pretty upset.
Go down there. I'll tell you what. Elon, this is what I'll do. Come down to Texas 22nd District, right? I'll pay your filing fee and run against me.
Oh, you'll pay his filing fee. I'm sure he'll really appreciate that gesture because he's short on cash. I'm sorry, I can't get the filing fee. Could you pay for that for me? What a twit. Okay, here now, I think it's really important to hear from the most important Republican congressman. It's Mike Johnson, and he's exasperated and so frustrated with Elon Musk, who is talking so badly about his bill, calling it an abomination and saying that everybody who voted for it should be voted out. Here is Mike Johnson. Reporters caught up to him, and he also sounded like he was going to weep.
I don't know what has motivated this disturbance to begin, but obviously it's not helpful. And, my way is that policy disputes are not personal, and I've tried very hard to speak with Elon over and over, and to talk with him about what I believe are misconceptions he has about this bill and what it is.
All right, and here is Republican Congressman Jim Banks on CNN, and he is really trying hard to spin yesterday somehow as a good day, and this was in the afternoon, and so a lot had transpired at this point. Here it is.
And you heard a minute ago, this has actually been a really good day for President Trump. He started the day off with a 90-minute call with President Xi in China with an agreement that they're going to get together and meet and talk about trade deals that put America first. And then you just heard Manu talk to Senator Ron Johnson, who was a hard no before, and now he's opening the door to getting to yes on the big, beautiful bill because President Trump is working directly with senators. He's taken the high ground with Elon and the back and forth online. He's more focused on passing the big, beautiful bill to support working-class families in this country. That's what matters most.
Well, I don't know that he's taken the high road. I mean, he's accused Elon Musk of going crazy, and he's threatened to take away all of his government contracts, prompting Musk to say he's going to cancel one of the SpaceX contracts. But let's.
All right, well, there's that, and now let's go to the Democrats. Here is Ro Khanna. He was on CNN with Aaron Burnett last night.
But, Musk today also is backing a call for Trump's impeachment, right? I just read that, but he responded yes to a post that reads, quote, President versus Elon, who wins? My money's on Elon. Trump should be impeached, and J.D. Vance should replace him. So, where do we go from here? I mean, it would appear to be this is a point of no return for Musk, but to actually go there on impeachment.
Well, I think the question the country should be asking is, in the divorce of Elon Musk and Donald Trump, who gets custody of J.D. Vance? I mean, let's hear from the vice president. Is he on Team Musk or is he on Team Trump? I think that's the first question.
You mean just in terms of the spending? The big beautiful bill.
In terms of the spending on the bill, does he agree with Elon Musk or does he agree with Donald Trump? In terms of the tariff policy, does he agree with Elon Musk or Donald Trump? In terms of the ban on international students, does he agree with Elon Musk or Donald Trump? He kind of wants it both ways. He wants Musk's money and he wants Trump's endorsement, and he's sort of caught in between in the divorce. And I really think the vice president should have to answer on whose side is he on.
Oh, wait, let's quickly go back to Fox News and listen to Charlie Kirk and Laura Ingraham, because I thought this was interesting.
President Donald Trump built this movement for 10 years. His supporters are not going anywhere. I hope that Elon and Trump reconcile. It'd be good for the country, and to do so privately.
Well, I talked to an insider today who said it's irreparable. That was the line. It is irreparable. But look, Donald Trump will sit down with anybody. So it's correct. Probably not irreparable on Trump's side. But Elon Musk, I mean, again, you run your own kingdom at your companies. You're still a public company. You can't totally do everything, but you're in charge. But look, Donald Trump's in charge, and the Congress is Congress. So you gotta kind of you have to deal with the reality of what you have in front of you. Trump's a realist. He's and I love Rand Paul. Everyone loves Rand Paul, but Rand Paul ran for president. I don't know how many times, but if they want to try to run Rand Paul again, I mean, God bless them. I don't think that's going to work, but.
Oh, bad day. They were really floundering. Well, let's see what happens today. But let's get back to Democrats. Some reporter caught up with Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez on her way into the office, it looks like. And here was that.
Any quick reaction on what's going on with Elon Musk and President Trump on Twitter right now?
Oh, man, the girls are fighting, aren't they? I would say that this was something that was a long time coming, where we've been seeing that these two huge egos were not long for being together in this world as friends. And so I think this breakup we've been seeing a long time coming, but we'll see what the impacts are of it legislatively.
Yeah, we will see what the impacts of it are legislatively, and the girls are fighting. She's so good. All right, what else do I have for you? And you know what? Let's go to the late night comedians who had a field day with this, of course. I mean, just amazing content for comedy. Let's see what they came up with over at The Late Show with Stephen Colbert on CBS.
Welcome, one and all, you beautiful people, to The Late Show. I am your host, Stephen Colbert. My fellow Americans, and all the ships at sea, I hope you've stocked your family's shelter with potable water and dehydrated turkey chili. Because, ladies and gentlemen, a full-scale flame war has broken out between the world's most famous besties, Donald Trump and Elon Musk, or, as they're known by their celebrity couple name, two huge jagovs. Here's where we stand. Anything new? You guys heard anything new? Anything new? Keep me up to date. Here's where we stand. Musk spent all day yesterday slamming Trump's big, beautiful bill to his 200 million followers on Twitter. What's most impressive, only half of those are his kids. Now, Trump, here's the thing. I was impressed by this. Trump held his return fire until today in a press conference with German Chancellor Gerhard Knockwurst. I don't know. Jim?
Elon's upset because we took the EV mandate, and which was a lot of money for electric vehicles, and they're having a hard time, the electric vehicles. I'm very disappointed because Elon knew the inner workings of this bill better than almost anybody sitting here. He said the most beautiful things about me, and he hasn't said bad about me personally, but I'm sure that'll be next. But I'm very disappointed in Elon. I've helped Elon a lot.
Yes, I've helped him a lot. No, it's true. I've helped Elon a lot during the campaign. I helped him declutter his bank account of $288 million dusty dollars. He would hand me every dollar. I would hold it and I would say, "This one sparks joy." And in the pocket it goes, safe and sound with Daddy. Musk was clearly stung by the crack about electric vehicles, so he immediately fired back, live tweeting, "Without me, Trump would have lost the election, Dems would control the House, and the Republicans would be 51-49 in the Senate." Yeah, you think we've forgotten that? Buddy, have you been to a Tesla dealership lately? Because nobody else has. Now, as soon as Trump was done meeting with Chancellor Braunschweiger, he clapped back. "Elon was wearing thin. I asked him to leave. I took away his EV mandate that forced everyone to buy electric cars that nobody else wanted, that he knew for months I was going to do, and he just went crazy." I'm sorry, went crazy? Elon has always lived at the geographic center of insanitude. He's not the mayor of Crazy Town. He's the governor of off his Medsylvania.
All right, there is Colbert. Now let's head over to ABC, where it was Jimmy Kimmel Live. Always love him.
You know, I knew this day would come, and yet somehow it's even better than I imagined. It's like coming down the stairs on Christmas morning and finding a second tree. And lest anyone think he was trolling, Musk added, "Mark this post for the future. The truth will come out." Man, oh man, Vader turns on the Emperor again. That's a serious accusation. What does Elon know? What evidence could there possibly be that Trump was in league with Jeffrey Epstein, other than this and this? And, well, who could forget this video that Elon went ahead and posted today of Don and Jeff getting their freak off at a party. I don't know what information Elon has, but I doubt he's just making it up, because if it's not true, he could get sued for $1 zillion for something like this. It also makes this response that Trump had to a question he was asked almost a year ago when he was running a lot more interesting.
Would you declassify the 9/11 files?
Yeah.
Would you declassify JFK files?
Yeah. I did a lot of it.
Would you declassify the Epstein files?
Yeah, I would.
All right.
I guess I would. I think that less so, because, you don't know. You don't want to affect people's lives if it's phony stuff in there, because there's a lot of phony stuff with that whole world.
Mm-hmm. And that is a man who is very careful about spreading phony stuff. I mean, just ask Robot Joe Biden. I mean, just ask the cats and dogs those illegal immigrants had for lunch. He's super careful about phony. There was so much wild back and forth today. I did something I almost never do today. I went on Twitter, okay? I don't know if he's scared, but Trump is still trying to play it cool. After the Epstein post, he wrote, "I don't mind Elon turning against me, but he should have done so months ago." I agree. Should have done so during the election is what he should have done. Musk also agreed with a post that said Trump should be impeached and replaced with J.D. Vance, which means J.D. better get that waterproof eyeliner out of the drawer, because he's in a bit of a fix.
Yeah, there you go. Kimmel last night and Colbert. You know what? Let me just play this for you to end the show today, because I think it's poignant and important. And it's really, I categorize it under what I call the good stuff here on Stand Up, things that make you think and feel a little bit better about the world. And I guess this doesn't perfectly qualify with that criteria, but I loved Scott Galloway on Piers Morgan's show, sitting across from this asshole, Kevin O'Leary, who's the king of rich assholes. He plays the role like it's a caricature on TV. And Piers Morgan asks Scott Galloway about Elon Musk. Don't you ever give him credit for being a genius and all that? And this went absolutely viral, because whether you like Scott Galloway or not, I think you'll probably think a lot about what he has to say here, and I think it's important. I wanted to share it.
Really, in many other ways. I mean, do you accept, Scott, that he's a genius, or do you feel it's smoke and mirrors with Musk? Because when I watched him talk me through his Optimus thing, I just saw the 10-year-old boy who used to write programs doing it on a massive scale and loving that, whereas I think he's really struggled with the criticism he's had in the political arena.
I don't think you can deny his genius. I'll use Starlink on my flight to London in a couple days, and it's a superior product. I owned a Tesla. But somehow we've decided in America that innovation and money replaces or obviates or excuses depravity. Cutting off aid to HIV-positive mothers, deciding what veterans should get benefits, cutting off SNAP payments, which have shown to have a positive net return when people run out of money for food at the end of the month. I mean, I think one of the wonderful things about being an American, and quite frankly, for me, what it means to be a man and what I try to teach my boys, is the whole point of prosperity is such that you can protect people. And I think the two of you are more impressed with Mr. Musk than I am. I think if somebody is making Nazi salutes, if somebody is being sued concurrently by two women for sole custody of their child because that person has not spent any time with that child, when someone is so severely addicted to drugs they can't get their shit together to show up to the White House without looking exceptionally high, I don't think that's the right role model for young men. So what I would ask of all of us is look at what money has done to us. That if someone can land a rocket on metal scissors or create a great AV, he's a genius. He's the wealthiest man in the world. But does that mean we should excuse depravity? Does that mean, unlike Bill Gates, he's not using his billions to help people? He's not planting trees, the shade of which he won't sit under? I think this is an individual who has literally come off the tracks, who is rabidly addicted to drugs, and is using his immense power to get people elected, and that too many of us excuse what is abhorrent behavior. I think his legacy is not going to be an EV or putting rockets into space. I think it's going to be unnecessary death, disease, and disability of the world's most vulnerable. That is not what it means to be an innovator. It's not what it means to be an American. It's not what it means to be a man.
Wow. Kevin.
Yeah. Piers Morgan kind of speechless, and Scott Galloway sounded like his voice is breaking there at the end. And that's how I wanted to leave you here on a Friday at the end of the week with that thoughtful moment. And I like it. All right. Well, that's all I've got. Thanks so much, everybody who came to both our Hangouts this week. They really make the week so much better and so much more authentic to connect with real people. I highly encourage you to join us at those Hangouts. Over 70 people here. There's a reason people keep coming back day after day or twice a week. It's so important to me and so many of you. So I'm very, very grateful for that this week. Just wanted to mention that. And everybody who has got a paid subscription, I cannot do it without you. Check your credit cards and make sure that they're active here at the beginning of the month. I'm off to my high school buddies gathering. It's Stang Bang 4. We're the Marcellus Mustangs, class of 1993. And we're on a text chat, about 20 of us or so, and about 15 of us are going to be getting together for a couple days of fun somewhere in rural Pennsylvania at a big house that we rented. So very much looking forward to that. I hope you have a good weekend, and I will talk to you Monday right here on Stand Up.